Hello, Internet. We missed you.
Yeah, it's been a while,
It's been a while.
but we've been working
Working hard
really hard
on television.
on television.
A game that we're going to tell you about now because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah, you know a little bit about it.
A little bit.
You know, there's something called Bird Planet.
There is.
There's something called boulder weight boxing.
There's also that.
There may be some pixelated cars,
There might be pixelated cars.
and I think that's what they know. It's also called television, which you knew.
You also know because there's a trailer that we made.
Yep.
We were unofficially brainstorming for ideas to make for this contest after we decided to do it. While we can't remember the exact manner in which we came up with the idea of sort of doing this, it was like a selection of TV shows that where you sort of like go through and play.
Television is a game where a player sits down to play television. So where television is a series of shows that happen one after the other, and then not just in lines, but there are parallel lines. You can move from channel to channel to get to other shows that are happening at the same time. You could do the same in our game.
Once we had established basically the idea of the game and saying like, okay, so we're going to have all these shows, and we came up with channels as like a thing that was going to be there. And we sort of, we just like, okay, well, how do you change channels with shoulder buttons, and then like, the other buttons do stuff, and that sort of presented a problem of information. We decided we'd take concepts that are games and make them a little more show-like, and then take things that are shows and try to make them more game-like, pulling in sort of old references and new references, giving it context, trying to keep it current while still feeling old. We looked up a bunch of stuff on our Tumblr, which is awesome, and you should go look at it.
Please check it out. It's laboratorygames.tumblr.com, and we've been uploading things that inspired us.
So much fun stuff.
There are some pretty easy connections that you can make.
You could take Myst and WarioWare and think about like, okay, well, if Cyan had produced WarioWare, like what would that mean?
You're going into spaces, and these spaces have new rules. You're exploring those spaces, and then you come out of them knowing a little bit more, and maybe having access to a little more from that knowledge.
It's taking the sort of experimental aspects of exploring in Myst, in that you're dropped into Myst, you don't understand anything about it. In the same way, you're dropped into television, and there's not a lot of explanation about what you're supposed to do. So there's a lot of feeling around, poking at things, and finding the fun through exploration.
At the beginning of the game, you're probably going to play it more like WarioWare than you play it like Myst.
Especially in the prototype. Like, the prototype we're building doesn't have a lot of the sort of more elaborate mechanics that we have designed around it. But it gives you an idea of sort of like what the experience will start to feel like, and give you sort of hints at where the sort of possibility space
The trajectory.
The trajectory that the game will head in as it sort of goes further down the road. And that's sort of, the best thing you can hope for from a prototype.
It's impossible to be able to get things like the Metroidvania aspects that we're hoping to get that you get in things like Myst. And in Myst, it's just knowledge. You don't get like a new item, but you learn where things are, you learn how to interact with things, and you come to understand the rules of the ages you're inhabiting. We want to do that where your knowledge of the space, how television works, how the things that inhabit television work, pulling items from one place, using them in another.
And then totally putting that on its head and letting you do weird interactive things with it. One of the interesting things about television that we did was coming up with a way to make the games be multiplayer and not multiplayer. So the idea is that most of the experiences have some sort of multiplayer component, wherein there's usually a driver, and that driver is sort of first player. But there are other games that are entirely multiplayer, and then there are games that can be played with one or more people. That's about it, Internet. We hope you found this reveal interesting, and hopefully maybe the game is a little more apparent. We wanted to be pretty explicit about that this is a game. It's not a collection of videos or weird photos or strange things. It is weird.
It's not art to be observed, it's a game to be played. And you're going to explore it, and it's going to be strange, and you're going to start out as a player and then end up an explorer and then beat it by playing it again.
We both really like this idea. It's still got a lot of work to do to turn it into what it needs to be, but it's got a lot of promise, and it should be fun and interesting by itself. It's been a really intense but interesting exercise that we haven't done in quite a while, but and definitely not to this level. So we hope that it shows. We love what we do, and we care a lot about what we do, and we hope that like we really genuinely made all this in a very short period of time, and there's a lot there, and we try to put it all forward and hope you appreciate it and enjoy it.
Thanks for watching, and we hope that you get to play television.